The M1917. The M1917 was made by the U.S. near the end of World War I, as to serve as their own armored vehicle suitable for the muddy conditions of World War I. It was invented by Van Dorn Iron Works, Maxwell Motor Company, and C.L. Best Company, and was a copy of the popular French Renault FT. There were about 950 M1917 tanks made, but sadly none saw combat. But based on the success of the Renault FT, it probably would have been effective. The tank's main weapon was a 37mm cannon, or the M1917 machine gun. It had an armor thickness of 0.25 to 0.6 inches, and an Buda HU modified 4-cylinder engine with a top speed of about 5 to 18 miles an hour. The M3 Stewart. The M3 Stewart was made in the 1940s as an improvement over the now obsolete Stewart M2, now with more firepower and thicker armor. It was first used by the British in North Africa against the Germans and later used in the Pacific Theater as the first American manned tank to see tank versus tank combat. There were about 5,811 M3 Stewart tanks made. The M3 Stewart's main gun was a 37mm anti-tank cannon, and its secondary weapon was a 30-caliber Browning machine gun. These guns were on par with some lightly armored Panzers of the early war. The M3 had armor with a thickness of 9.5 to 50.8 millimeters thick, which was able to stop the rounds of the tanks it went against, like the Type 95. Its engine was a twin Cadillac Series 42 with a top speed of 36 miles per hour. The M3 Lee. The first M3 Lees were made in 1941 to serve the role of a medium tank capable of going toe-to-toe with the Panzers of Germany. It had powerful weapons, good armor, and pretty good speed, but it was very large, making it an easy target for German guns. About 6,258 were built. It was eventually replaced by the M4 Sherman, although it was still used extensively in the Pacific Theater. The M3 had two main guns, a 75mm gun in the hull, and a 37mm gun in the turret, along with 2 to 4 30-caliber Browning machine guns. It had armor 38 to 51 millimeters thick, and a Wright Continental R975 EC2 engine with a speed of up to 26 miles per hour. The M4 Sherman. Now for the famous M4 Sherman, one of the most known and most versatile and reliable tanks of World War II, built to replace the M3, moving the 75mm gun from the hull to the turret, where it could rotate 360 degrees to fire in any direction. When it was first used by the British in Africa, it outclassed the light to medium German tanks and was able to sweep through the Germans with its powerful gun, good speed, and famous reliability. When used in Italy, it was able to destroy many tanks it faced with its advantage of numbers. One problem with it was that it had less than desirable armor, and when hit often caught fire, which is why it was given the name the Tommy Cooker. Along with all this, it also had the potential for customization with variants with bigger guns and special tools to help infantry. The M4 had a 75mm cannon and two 30-caliber machine guns and maybe even a 50 cal mounted on top. It had an average armor thickness of about 12 to 177 millimeters, and it had a Continental R975 C1 or C4 9-cylinder radial gasoline engine. The M26 Pershing. The M26 Pershing was brought into World War II in the last months as the Allied forces invaded Germany and Berlin. The M26 was supposed to replace the Sherman much earlier, but the development took much longer than expected, leading to the M26 seeing only small amounts of combat, allegedly being able to kill multiple Tigers and Panzers. Although not used much in World War II, it was used extensively in the Korean War, with it encountering the Russian T-34, which the Pershing outclassed in every way, being able to kill dozens of T-34s. The tank's main armament was a 90mm cannon with two 30 calibers and one 50 caliber as secondaries. It ran on a Ford GAF 8-cylinder gasoline engine and had an armor thickness of 50 to 102 millimeters. The M60. The M60 was developed as the first US MBT and first saw combat in the Cold War, where it fought Soviet tanks on its level and was used to fight in the jungles of Vietnam against older Russian tanks. Later, it was used in multiple Israeli wars and in the Iraq-Iran War. It was also used in the Gulf War, where it effectively destroyed T-72 tanks. It was last used by the US in Desert Storm, but after that it was and still is used by other countries. The US has sold them too. It has a 105mm cannon and a 50 cal, as well as a 7.62 machine gun. It has an armor thickness of 93 to 220mm, and a Continental AVDS 1790 2V12, air-cooled twin-turbo diesel engine. The M1 Abrams. The M1 Abrams early development was rocky as the MBT project, or Main Battle Tank Project, was almost completely scrapped, but eventually the M1 Abrams was able to be made with large improvements over the older M60, now being known as one of the most powerful and versatile tanks around. It was first used in 1980, and was used in many wars such as the Gulf War and Desert Storm, where it was extremely effective, destroying many older Russian tanks and many new ones with none being destroyed. Today they are being used to great effect in the Russia-Ukrainian conflict, with one or two being disabled. The tank was designed by Chrysler Defense, now General Dynamics Land Systems, with each unit costing about $4.3 million. The Abrams had a 105mm main gun and a 50 caliber machine gun, as well as two 7.62 machine guns, one on top and one in the turret. The Abrams armor is highly classified, but it is composite and up to 2 feet thick at some places, and has a Honeywell AGT 1500 multi-fuel turbine engine. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.